This is project 19 of Hacking with Swift. We're going to use MapKit, Apple's mapping framework that lets us drop pins, plan routes, and zoom around the world with just a few swipes. For more information, see the website hackingwithswift.com, where you can buy this video and all videos in the series in glorious high resolution. You can also get them as ebooks downloadable today, starting at just $3 a shot, and they include so much more information to really drive forward your Swift learning. You can also find me on Twitter. I am at 2straws. If you have problems, questions, suggestions, and I have the time, follow me, get in touch. I'll do my best to help. Okay, let's crack on. Go ahead and launch Xcode. When it asks you what to do, please choose Create New Project. Then iOS Application, Single View Application. I'll name mine Project 19. I'll choose iPhone for device and press Next and Create. Now this project is super simple. I've tried to keep it as slim and light as possible so we can focus on the important stuff, i.e. MapKit. We'll be showing capital cities around the world on a map. You can tap on them and show more information. Super simple. I'll choose iPhone 5S for my simulated deployment target. And then I'll launch Interface Builder by clicking on main.storyboard. So for now, super simple. Let's just make sure MapKit's working. I'll drop a map onto here. Like that, click and drag. Fill the screen, wait for the blue alignment bars to show. Great. Then go ahead and embed the view controller inside a navigation controller. So select it, then go to Editor, embed in navigation controller. Then rearrange it because of course Xcode muffs it up slightly. Fantastic. Then finally just add some auto layout automatic constraints. So select the map view, then go to Editor, resolve auto layout issues, add missing constraints. Boom, that is done. Simple map view. Let's just run this for now so you can see what we have at this point, because I think you may be surprised. It'll build, it'll run, it'll launch simulator, and bang! It's actually quit, saying sig abort, that means. So it's aborted execution because why? Could not instantiate class named MKMapView. That means iOS doesn't know what you mean MKMapView, which is very strange. Of course, we just dragged it in from Interface Builder. You think it would just work. Now you might think the solution is our usual sort of fix, i.e. import MapKit. But if you run that, you'll find that makes it no better. So running, bang, still crashing. Error is still could not instantiate class MKMapView. This means the application cannot find MKMapView. MK being MapKit and MapView is, well, of course, a view that shows maps, right? It can't find it. Now, this is unusual because so far to fix problems we've had to do, import SpriteKit or import AV Foundation, and that resolves our problems, but not here. Now, the reason is because MK anything, MapKit types, all come from a separate framework called MapKit, which needs to be available to our interface as well, and it's separate. It's completely separate from UIKit. It's cross-platform. It exists on OS X as well as iOS. This is just like other frameworks like AV Foundation, like SpriteKit, which are also available on both platforms, but locations are sensitive information because they can tell you, where the user is currently, for example, which is obviously very important and very private. So you must select your project, and you'll see this screen here where you normally do the device orientation changes. And you want to select the target here. If you don't see this drop down, you may have to click this button on the left. You might see this instead. You'll see Project 19 or Targets Project 19. And you want to choose Targets Project 19. I realize this is quite confusing, but Xcode, what can you do? Alternatively, you may have to select it in here. So don't choose that one, but choose that one. Great. And then go to the Capabilities tab. We haven't been here before. This contains all sorts of sensitive information about users you want to ask permission for. Do you want to access health information, home information? Do you want to run in the background? Do you want to make purchases using Apple Pay or in-app purchase or Passbook or iCloud? These are all permission-based things. So we're going to say next to Maps, which is permission-based, on. It'll ask you, do you want any special routing information? No, just leave them all deselected. But it does say checkmark link mapkit.framework, and up here this file mapkit.framework has now appeared, and that's the difference. With that in place, the program will now run. As you'll see, if I just press stop, then play, no code change whatsoever. It's thinking, boom, a map. using MapKit that we can just sort of tap on and move around smoothly. You can also simulate a pinch gesture by holding down the Alt key to get this sort of spinning two-finger thing. Then just click and drag that apart as if you were pinching your fingers apart. I can zoom in here. I can find my house. I live in the southwest of England. It's very sleepy. It's very nice. So we have a full embedded map kit just by checking this box and adding the object from Interface Builder. Let's do some more with it though. Go back to IB, then control drag from the map view to your view controller, i.e. here or here, whichever one works for you. I'll choose here and choose delegate. So it'll ask our view controller for information. Then go to the assistant editor and control drag from the map view into some code so we can create an outlet for it, which we'll call map view. Very original naming. Fantastic. So we can now go ahead and modify this map view and reference it in code. And what we're going to do is create some annotations, i.e. pins on the map at certain positions we care about. And this app is going to show capital cities of the world, just some of them obviously, say London, Paris, Rome, Oslo, Washington for our North American viewers. And to do that, we must use something called MK annotation, with the MK giving you the tip-off, this is MapKit again. But it's not a direct subclass we're creating here. So we need to be a bit cunning because MK annotation is actually a protocol that we must adopt. It's a bit confusing. It makes much more sense if you see it in code. So right click here on project 19, this yellow folder area, choose new file, choose iOS source CocoaTouch class, subclass from NS object, and for class name, call it capital, like that, to hold capital cities. Press next and press create. I'll bring up the standard editor so I can see more on my screen. So it must be a class. It must inherit from NS object because we intend to work from work with other Objective-C stuff. There is no other option here, I'm afraid. But we want to make it conform to the protocol MK annotation, like that. It'll win straight away because it doesn't know what MK annotation is. So you must do import MapKit, and then it still whinges, but now for a different reason. It'll say we don't conform to the protocol. Even though we say we do, we actually don't. Because annotations have a few different optional things, one required thing. Where should this pin be? And you can right click on it and say jump to definition to have a look at what these are. So you'll see optional title, optional subtitle, optional method set coordinate, required thing, coordinate. Where must it be? And this is a latitude and longitude for the map. So, to make our object here, our class capital compliant with MK annotation, we must have a coordinate in there. We're also going to provide a title, so we can show some title inside the map, and we will also provide some information. This is a new thing. It's not required by MK annotation. It's just a new thing we'll put in our class to hold a one-liner of random geographic details I've thought up about the town. So, let's have a look. We want to first declare we have a title. So we'll say var title is string. Then we want to say we have a coordinate, and this is data type CL location coordinate 2D, a 2D location. If you right click and go to jump definition, it'll tell you what that means. It's got latitude in degrees and longitude in degrees. Now this thing is a fancy name for double. It is just a double at this time. That might change in the future, so you really should use CL location degrees rather than straight doubles. Anyway, so we've got a title, we've got a coordinate, and we want to also provide some information as a string. Some fascinating fact about this town. It's still whinging. It's still whinging at this point because it has no initializers. Now this is important here. String, title, coordinate, and info are all not optional. If these were optional like this, then it'd be not a problem. It'd be warning us other reasons perhaps because it's not conforming to the protocol, of course, because this should be non-optional. But in our case, we're going to make them non-optional, just required things, and instead create an initializer. So we'll say init, and this will take a title, which is a string, a coordinate, which is a string, then a info. Wait a minute, coordinates, the CL location and coordinate 2D. Sorry, I'm being silly. Coordinate is that. Info is a string. you can build, but it's still going to warn you because these aren't optional still, which means they must have a value before init finishes. So somewhere in here we must give these things a value. Now, here's something interesting you should learn while you're here. As you can see, we have a property called title, property coordinate, property info for our class capital, and the parameters coming in are called title, coordinate, and info, the same thing as our properties. So how can we say set this title to be that? I mean, you cannot do title equals title, because that's not going to work. What does it mean? Does it mean assign to that thing, assign to that thing, assign that to that? Who knows? We just don't know. Swift lets you be clear. You can say self.title. I want to assign this property to that value, and that's much clearer. So we'll do save a coordinate, self coordinate equals coordinate, and then self.info equals info. And finally, the compile errors have gone away. So putting the self in there just clarifies for Swift exactly what you mean in terms of assigning what to what. So with that custom subclass in place, we can now create capital cities by passing in their name here, the coordinate to show them on the map, and the info. I suck at geography. The amazing informational nugget about each city in that last thing. So we can go ahead and make cities now. So we'll go to viewcontroller.swift. Then in viewDidLoad, I'm going to write this: let London equals capital, and there is our initializer. So the title, the name of the city is London, unsurprisingly. The coordinate, you want to do CL location coordinate 2D, parenthesis. It'll ask for a latitude and a longitude. So latitude of London is, are you ready for this? This is exact. Of course, be as exact as you want to be. 51.50722. And longitude is minus 0.1275. That's the exact center of London. Obviously, if you look at Greenwich, you'll see 0 for longitude, but that's the actual city center. So for info, I'm going to write in here my amazing geography fact about London. It was home to the 2012 Summer Olympics. Yes, it was, and they were fabulous. I'm going to create some more. You may find this tedious, so feel free to fast forward, because I won't do it for you in case you want to read the numbers. So let Oslo equals capital, title, Oslo, coordinate. I don't have anywhere near the accuracy for this for Oslo, I'm afraid. It is 59.95 lat, and long is 10.75. Info, this was founded over 1,000 years ago. It is a very nice city to visit. I do recommend Oslo. Paris, I'll do let Paris equals capital, title Paris. Coordinate of Paris is CL location coordinate 2D. Lat is 48.8567. Long is 2.3508. I'm getting these numbers, by the way, from Wikipedia, and they do look accurate, which is nice. Paris is often called the City of Light, which is true. It's a lovely, romantic city to be in. There we go. Then let's add Rome, capital, title, Rome. Coordinate is the location coordinate 2D. Lat is 41.9. Long is 12.5. And info has a whole country inside it, which is true. Bonus points. You'll get internet points if you can name the name of that country. And then finally, for our North American watchers, let Washington equals capital. Title, Washington, D.C. Oops, Washington, D.C. Does that thing need periods between, like D.C.? I don't know. Anyway, it's your program, you can figure it out. Coordinate is, unsurprisingly, Wikipedia has very accurate coordinates for Washington, D.C. It is 38.895111. And longitude is minus 77.036667. 666. Oh dear, religious right will be all over that. Anyway, info named after George himself, I presume. Surely correctly. So these capital objects we created earlier in here all conform to the MK annotation protocol. which means we can now give them to our map by saying in here, we can say map view dot add annotation London, like that, and it'll appear straight away in the map. And you can copy and paste that 5 times or 50 times, whatever you want, or put inside a loop. You can also use add annotations, plural, like that, and take an array of the same objects. So we can say now London, Oslo, Paris, Rome, Washington, like that. Much easier, I think. So that creates an array of the annotations and sends it in one lump to the map view. And you can actually run your program now. It works. There we go. Our internet is offline, apparently. Thank you for that. Yes, internet is offline. Thank you so much. Connect to that one, please. But it has at least remembered where I was, so it sort of caches up where I was at least. And there's London. Yep, thank you. There's London. I can tap on that and see London. So it has figured out for me that the title of my object should go into that pin when it's tapped straight away, which is very nice. So it's doing some work for us. To show more information, specifically, our amazing nugget of information about London and Paris and so forth, we need to do some customization. That's okay. So let's kick off something slightly more detailed. So every time the map wants to show an annotation, like these things here, these all annotations, it will call a method called viewForAnnotation on its delegate, which is of course us. And we don't implement that right now, so you get this sort of default red pin going on, which is okay to begin with. It's okay. And to customize that view is kind of like the way we customize table view cells and collection view cells, because iOS automatically reuses these cells as it needs to make the best use of available memory. And if there isn't one available, we have to just create one by hand using a class called mkPin annotation view. So our default annotation view will look a lot like the default thing, except we want to add a button to the right that users can tap on to get more information, i.e. my amazing fact. So I'm going to tap the pin to see the information, the name, then tap the I button to see more information. I spent literally tens of seconds writing those nuggets of information. It's fantastically interesting. Anyway, viewForAnnotation is very important and it's not hard to write, but it is used by other annotations, not just your one. For example, if you try and show the user location, it will call viewForAnnotation. You have to be very, very careful. So let's kick off with this method. So we can really actually add ourselves as mkMap view delegate. That's better. So that'll do code completion for us, which is much nicer. So we'll say map view and then viewForAnnotation. Boom, that one. So firstly, we need an identifier for our data type. I'm going to call it capital. So we'll say let identifier equals capital. That's not this class name. It's just a name I've invented so I know exactly what I'm reusing and what I'm not reusing. So it'll pass us the annotation. It'll pass us one of these things or one of the system ones and ask us what view do we want to show. So we're going to say in here, if annotation dot is kind of class. This lets us query at runtime what data type this is. And what we care about is, are you capital.self? Are you the capital class? That means. And if so, fine, we can do stuff. And what we're going to do is we're going to first dequeue a reusable map pin if one exists. So we'll say var annotation view equals map view dot dequeue reusable annotation view with identifier. Boom. And we use identifier for that, which is our identifier. There we go. Which right now is set to capital. And then if there is no reusable identifier, we'll create one. So we'll say if annotation view is nil, i.e. there's nothing to dequeue, we're going to say annotation view equals mkPin annotation view. It takes a few parameters. Firstly, what annotation to give it. So in this case, we'll say annotation. That's the name of our thing that's being passed in. And identifier will also use identifier so that they can reuse them correctly, like that. That's why you just declare it separately so you know exactly what you're working with. We also need to modify this so it can show a call out, i.e. the information that the little pop-up saying you're in London. So we'll say annotation view dot can show call out equals true. So we'll show that little bubble of information. Now we're going to add a button on the right that will show when it's tapped, an alert view with more information with my amazing nuggets. So we're going to say create a button, let btn equals UI button dot button with type. A type we're going to choose here is dot detail disclosure. That is by default a little blue eye on iOS 8 and onwards. And we're going to set that to be the right callout accessory view for our return, for our view. Equals btn. And that means it will show the text and put the button on the right for us and manage it being tapped correctly. Like that. It is warning us just slightly because cunningly, go figure, UI button of type will return any object as opposed to UI button. I am sure there is some reason for that, but you must, for some reason, typecast as UI button, which makes the errors go away, obviously. If annotation view is not nil, so else, if we did get a value back correctly from the system to reuse, then all we need to do is change its annotation to be the one we were passed in, like that. So we'll just say annotation. So it's changed whatever you were before to whatever the new one is. And finally, return that here. So we'll say return annotation view, like that. What happens though here, if we are using a capital annotation, do all this stuff, else, this is for everything else. So for example, that blue circle thing that Apple shows to highlight user's location, that'll fall into the else block. But realistically, you don't even need that. You can just say down here, return nil. Down to you the way you want to write it. Return nil means I don't want to return anything for this thing. You figure it out, iOS. So it'll take the default behavior, which is to show the blue circly thing going on. And now we can run it back again. You'll see the pins, you'll see your map appear. And this time, tapping on London. Boom, London with an I button. Tap on that, nothing happens. We'll get to that. But you can see it's coming together quite nicely. It positions it correctly for us automatically, which makes life really, really easy. So we're getting closer here. Next up, what to do when this callout accessory view has been tapped. Again, there's another method for this. So beneath func map view for annotation, just write map view. This time we're looking for callout accessory control tapped. So I will look for it up here, and there it is. It's quite long, but it's telling us the map view with this map view, that annotation view of the map view had its callout accessory control tapped, i.e. the button. So if we go it backwards, a button was tapped inside this annotation view, inside this map view. It's a bit backwards, but there you go. So this will be called, this will be set to the London view, the whole area, the whole pop-up bubble thing. That'll be set to the button, the I button, and that will be set to our map view. This one is a helpful one, by the way, the annotation view, because that will tell us what the annotation actually was behind it, because it'll be attached to it. So first up, we're going to pull out the capital that was tapped. So we'll choose let capital equals view, i.e. This thing, view.annotation as capital. These buttons are only available to us right now inside our custom views. So we'll say we can definitely cast that as capital. Then we're going to pull out some information. Specifically, we're going to say get your place name. So let place name equals capital.title. Then let place info equals capital.info. So those two key bits of information. And then we'll create a new UI alert controller. So we'll say let AC equals UI alert controller. This takes the title. Title should be our place name, I think. Message can be our place info. Preferred style will do .alert. Then we'll add an action so people can go ahead and do more stuff. So ac.add action. Then you need to create a new UI alert action with a title. We'll call it OK. Style.default. Handler nil, i.e. just dismiss. This should be second nature to you by now. Then present view controller AC animated true, completion nil. Boom. That finishes the project, remarkably. That's how easy MapKit is to use. So you can press Command R, run it back. It'll load the default map. There's London. Tap on that, up pops London in a little bubble. I can press the I button, and then you'll see the fascinating fact about London or whichever capital that you chose. So it's that simple. A lot of the work is done for us by MapKit and iOS again. In fact, nearly all the work is done for us by MapKit and iOS. The key difference here is that we're not using add target as we did with the 7 Swifty words game. We just create the button as we want it and give it to the call out accessory view, and it will do the rest of it for us. So you just use this method instead of using add target. It's much, much easier. And that's it. So you've already learned about MK map view, MK annotation, MK pin annotation view, CL location coordinate 2D, and more. It's that simple, and it's a lot of fun, and it lets you do some very cool stuff in just, 30 lines of code maybe? Nothing at all, let's face it. And that's the project done. So go ahead and customize it with your own capital cities, and please do add some better facts than my appalling ones. I'm sure there's much more interesting things out there you can write about. For more information, go to the website hackingwithswift.com, where you can buy this video in high resolution or as a digital downloadable ebook straight away, starting at just $3 a shot. It's super cheap. And your support does help me make more videos like this one. You can also find me on Twitter. I am at 2straws. If you want to give me better facts from my geography lessons, please do get in touch. Follow me, write to me. I'd love to hear from you. Take care.